everyone. Thank you for stopping by my channel today. My name is Daryl and we are back in the shop today to work on the closet built-in. The next step here is to make some dust panels to go in the drawer unit, I guess you'd call it. And I have some things laid out here at the router table that I'm going to use to make some dados so we can slide the little panels that go into the frame in there. So let's turn the camera around and I'll show you what I got. Okay, we are at the router table and we are going to use this test piece to make some dados in what would be the frame of the dust panel, and those panels will then just slide into these little dados. Now the bit I'm going to use is a Whiteside 1065A, and this particular router bit is made for plywood that isn't quite what plywood should be. So if you're buying 1/2 inch plywood, that plywood's going to be at just a little under a 1/2 inch. So if you used a router bit that was exactly a 1/2 inch, when you went to slide that into that dado, there'd be a lot of slop. So they make, of course, router bits that take that into account, and they make that dado just a little bit more narrow to accommodate the more narrow or more thin plywood. So that's what we're going to use today, and we're going to set this router up and make a couple of test passes and see if they fit snug. So let's get this router table set up and we will move on to the next step here. Okay, the first thing we need to do is take off this 1/4 inch collet and put on a 1/2 inch collet, because this router bit has a 1/2 inch shaft on it. So we're going to stick this in. Now we don't want to stick it all the way down in there. Let me loosen that up a little bit. We don't want to stick it all the way down in there like that. We want to leave it up a little bit. And that will, sometimes on some of these routers, if you put them all the way too deep, the collet doesn't want to stay tight. So I like to leave them up from the bottom just a little bit. And now we need to find over here, I know you can't see it, I'm going to find the little plate for this, and we're going to lower this down. Once it gets lowered down a little bit, I can put this plate on. Alright, now I'm going to lower it down so it's like midway, about 3/8 of an inch deep. Well, I'm not going to start that deep. I'm going to go about I don't know, about 1/8 of an inch, and we'll take a test run and see what it does. All I'm going to do with this piece here is just check and see that it fits my plywood properly. So it's no big deal. I want it deep enough, but it's no big deal right now where it's at. Alright, so hopefully you can see this, but I'm just going to run it through, make a groove, and then I'll crank up the bit a little bit more, make it a little deeper, and then we'll slide it onto a piece of this 1/2 inch and see how it fits. Okay, we made our test passes here, and you can see that we got the dado in here. Now, there's not a whole lot of meat on each side of this panel, but up here on the sides here, there'll be glue there, so I think they'll stay together pretty good. I've never done this before. I've never put a 1/2-inch panel using a 3/4 inch frame, but I usually use 1/4 inch plywood. But I have this 1/2 inch to get rid of, so I will use that. And we will see what happens. But I think it'll be just fine. I'll put a good amount of glue in there, and that should be fine. I mean, it's not going to get a lot of pressure on it, a lot of weight or anything like that. It's just there to keep dust and things falling out of the drawer from falling down into the next drawer and all the way down to the bottom, so you can't find them. So it's just kind of won't be a big deal for it. So let's do it and see what happens. And if it fails, I'll go out and get some 1/4 inch plywood and we'll do it that way. But right now I think this will be fine. So let's start running our pieces through. Okay, before we begin, we have to make a couple of measurements here. So in order to put these together, I'm going to use the Festool Domino and put some tenons in there. So I don't want to run this this dado all the way to the very end like this, because then I'll have nothing to put the tenons into, and it'll be not good. So I want to stop this dado just past where this would be over here, like on this piece here, where this would come in, where this dado on this one is at. I want to stop it just maybe right at or right past where that dado is, and then I can put my tenons in over here. Or I'm going to try to put 2 in. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll only get to put 1. So I need to, these side pieces I can, or actually the front pieces, I can just go through and do them, the sides and backs, but the fronts and backs, sorry. And the sides, I have to make this stop. So I have to set that measurement up on the router and make sure that I don't go too far. All right, we got our 4 pieces for the front and back rails finished, and you can see that I slid it on the 1/2 inch plywood here. So that's basically what it's going to look like. And I think once I get glue in here, it'll be just fine. Yeah, I've never done this before. I've never used 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch before. So this is an experiment. So we will see how that works out over time. Hopefully fine, because it's going to be glued in there and I don't want to have to try to dig it all out. So, and I probably will not look in there. I don't think there's going to be any real stress on it or anything like that. So I think it'll be just fine. So this is a big experiment. So in 100 years, come back and tell me if it worked out. All right, I got my lines drawn on each of the side rails, and I transferred a line to each side of the bit. So what I'll do is, this just tells me where I want the dado kind of to end, or where I need the dado to come up to, we'll put it that way. So what I'm going to do is I drop this in right here, and then you can see we're off a little bit because my bit's here, so that's where we want it. We want the edge of the bit to be right around where this line is at. And then I push it all the way through until I get to the line on the other side over here, and then I stop. So let's see where we are. We might be pretty close. I might have to move one of these lines, one or both of these lines around a little bit, but we'll go ahead and run one through and see where it lands. Alright, you can see where we ended up. We have just a little bit here to clean up on this one, and I think it'll be fine. So you can see that the dado stop. Whoa, the dado stops right there. So I think these little corners here, I might have to just chisel those square, and then I think it'll be fine. Okay, we got all these ready to dry fit. So I got a whole frame here. So I'm just going to put in the tenons, and then we will dry fit this together and see what it looks like. Hopefully it turns out the way I want it to. And then we'll move on to the next part here. Alright, so let's see what we did. Are we good or are we bad? Okay, it looks pretty good. So now you can see what it's going to look like. I'll swing this camera around and we'll see if what it looks like in the actual cabinet. Alright, I have the one we dry fit put in place, and I like it. I think it looks pretty good. We can begin making the panels for them now. Let me give you a closer look. Okay, here's a closer look. That's how it's going to go. So it's in all the way. So we're ready to make the panels that go in here now. And then after we get the panels cut up, we can glue this together and put it in clamps. And then we're ready to kind of give everything a little sanding. And then we can assemble this thing and get it installed. Okay, we got these pieces all milled up, and let's put one together and see what it looks like. Alright, here's my dominoes. This is one of my front or back pieces. So what we're going to do, well, put it this way. These go together. You can see how these go in. And when I go to do the glue up, I'll take these back out again and put some glue on them. Oh, that one got away from me. Alright. Now, I'm going to take this one here, and I'm going to bring it up to the side of my bench, and I'm going to clamp it down. Take one of our pieces here, side pieces, find the 10 bowl. There's one. I'm kind of glad they're fitting a little tighter. Alright. Now let me go grab this panel off the saw. Well, before I do that, I gotta just take my sanding block here and just give it a little sanding, just to knock off the little whiskers. That makes everything slide together much better. On all four corners, all four sides. flip it over. Okay, one more side. Alright. Take this and let's go with that. Just bring it up to it, I guess. Let's see what the holdup is. There we go. So the side over here needs to be popped in. There we go. I think that's in. All right. All right. So there we go. So it looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. Yeah. So now I need to just give this a real light sanding and get all the pencil marks off of it and everything. And then I will glue this together and let it sit overnight. And then we'll be able to move on to the next step. I do not know if it will be in this video, probably not. But maybe the next video we will put the cabinet together. We're either going to put the cabinet together on video, or I will put the cabinet together off video. But I will do a video of me putting the base in and me, you know, putting this bottom cabinet in and getting it all screwed down, because I want you to see that. But the gluing of this cabinet together is going to be, you know, it's going to be kind of a pain. So it might be hard for you to see what I'm doing, and I just think that it'd probably be better if I just glued it together and glue. I'm going to glue and screw it together, and then I have some pocket holes and things that I need to put in it to hold the face frame to it. I did do kind of that on the last built-in I made for the other house, but I didn't want to do it on this one, but I think I'm just going to build this exactly the same way, because it just seemed to have gone together better, or more easy for me. So most likely that's what's going to happen. Now let me go slide this one in and show you what it looks like, and then I'll show you where these pocket holes are going to be. Both these dust panels are installed, just temporary, and you can see what they look like now. And they're just separators between the drawers, really, that's all. So that's our openings for all three drawers. The two bottom ones are a little bit wider than the top one. And then we'll have a face frame that goes across, a 3-inch face frame here. Now here's part of my dilemma on this whole thing, is I considered making this box a little bit narrower, because this cabinet on this end here is going to be up against the wall. of the house. So I got to come out from the corner of the house, or corner of the wall, where this meets the wall, and put a 3-inch piece of trim for the face frame in here. So I have not very much to screw to. I mean, I can put pocket holes here and screw it in. I really don't want to do that. But what I think I'm going to do is pocket hole it from here, and then I'm going to have to put some support over here. So maybe another little section of plywood in here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do because I have to have something to screw the drawer glides to. So it's one of those things where you build it as you go after that, you know, okay? So I could make this skinnier and put the backing behind here, or I can keep it like this and put some extra wood in here to really give the face frame something to screw to. So I'm trying to do it where I'm not using a whole lot of fasteners. I'd rather glue stuff together with mortise and tenon, like if I use the biscuit, or not biscuit joiner, but the Festool domino, to put some dominoes in there to hold everything together. We'll see, but you'll see when I'm doing it. I'll figure it out. I mean, you're not going to see whatever I do. So the drawer is really not going to start here, you know, be as wide as this, because I have some backing I got to put here. This side will be okay because I fasten it here and then I'm going up against the wall. Here is directly in the corner, and when I put this thing in, you'll see what I'm talking about. So that is something I'll have to think about, but we'll get it. We'll figure it out. So this week I should be able to get this thing all glued together and installed. And then we'll start working on the top. And then I got to figure the face frame out. All right, we're going to pre-glue these dominoes into the hole, so we don't have to worry about that later. And then I noticed that I don't have a whole lot of glue, so most likely I'm going to have to get glue, so I won't be able to finish this on camera today. So I don't know what's going to happen. So put these in. You want to make sure you get these all the way down, because if you don't, when you go to put this stuff together, it's not going to fit. And then you'll have to end up, you know, shaving off some of the domino to get your pieces to come together. It kind of was a little, I put too much glue on this one. It takes me maybe one time to try to get back into the swing of things, and then I'll be all right. It's a little bit too much glue on that one. So if you just kind of put it towards the bottom of it, put a little glue in the slot. Maybe I should wipe it off first. See what happens. It didn't really make a difference. Still too much. Do one at a time here. So I think I'll have enough glue to do one, but maybe not both, so we'll see. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Alright. What's the other one? The panels, they, you know, it's kind of up to you whether you want to glue them in. I'm going to glue these in only because I used the 1/2 inch with this, and there's so little material here. I want to make sure that that holds together good. So I'm going to glue those. Glue the panels. Then when I get everything back together and glued together, I'll come back and sand the frames and get the pencil marks off. All right, one more. Just wiping it off in case it dries before I can get this thing together. Alright, so that's that. I can use some of this glue for putting these together. So let me reposition the camera here, and I think we'll glue this. Alrighty, so let's start assembling this. A little glue in these slots. This is always the most hectic thing, is gluing things together. And these don't have to be perfect because, like I said, nobody's going to see them. Oop, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let this sit here and do this one. And then I'll put some in the grooves. Okay. Oop, look at that. Now, put a little glue in the groove itself. Okay. Ah, dripped. Okay. All right. So let's think about this. A little drip more. Really dripped a lot. All right. I will lift it up on end when I get this side here in, and then we'll kind of beat these in. Alright, let's rip off a little bit of this glue. Now we'll spin it around and do this side. Okay. The more I try to be careful, the more I make a mess. Alright, now we can get some clamps. Let's see, will this will fit on there? I think so. Stick this on the clamp. Oh, it's not going to fit. Let's get a different one. Okay, making sure everything looks all right. And I'll get the square. Just check the square. Oh my goodness, it's very nice. It never works out like that for me. This time, they're right on the money. Wow, I'm really happy. Whenever I see somebody gluing something up and they show it being square, they always kind of, not always, but sometimes they just show it at a distance and you really don't know for sure if it is square. But you can see that this is very awesome. Very nice. And that's just, you know, taking your time and doing the job right. There's many times where I've done it where I wasn't very happy with the results. But this looks really nice. I'm really happy with that. So I think I got enough glue to do the other one. So I'm going to move this one out of the way and I'm going to do the other one off camera. Okay, that'll wrap this video up for today. We got a lot done. Getting these panels cut up and glued together is a big step in getting this bottom drawer unit completed. So the next video, I will already have this thing glued together, the cabinet itself glued and screwed together, and then the next video will be of me installing the base and leveling it out and getting it screwed down, and then sliding in the drawer unit and getting it screwed in and permanently installed. And then after that, we'll move to the top section, and there might be a little waiting on that because I don't think I have enough of the hickory plywood to complete that. So I either got to find hickory plywood or I got to make some hickory plywood myself by just getting some veneers and hickory veneer and veneering my own plywood, and then moving on. So either I can get the plywood or I have to get the veneer and make my own. Whichever way it's going to go, I don't know, but I'm leaning towards it's probably going to be the veneering. So we'll do that, and then we can install the top unit in there, and then we move on to the face frame and do the face frame. So it's a slow process. I've been videoing a lot of it, so it's not like I'm doing it without, you know, with you just popping in and see what I've already gotten done. I've just been trying to show you how I'm doing it. And so there'll be a little while yet before this is finished. I mean, there's a lot to do. I mean, I have the face, I got to install everything, I got to put the face frame on it, I have to mill all the lumber for the face frame, get it all measured out the way I want it, get that also stained and have a clear coat put on it and get that thing installed. And then we got drawers to make and drawer fronts to make and doors for the upper cabinet to make. So, and then whatever decorative piece I'm going to have at the top, that, lighting, shelf, coat rail. So there's a lot to do. So we're only in the beginning stages of this, so stick with me. If you like this comment or this content, please like and subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. That would make me feel real good. Subscribing would make me feel awesome. The thumbs up would make me feel real good. And I'm just making the videos for really myself. So, and for anybody who wants to learn how to do this, or maybe you got some better ideas on how to do this, and you can give me some comments as to what you would do in that situation. That would be great too. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.